Hi, homework 8. This is question 7. Triangle STV has vertices S26, T minus 4 minus 4 and V8 minus 1. Find the coordinates of the point of intersection of the median, VM, and the altitude, SL. Okay, if I was approaching this question, what I would do is I would first create a sketch. Okay, this isn't a sketch, this is more of like an accurate drawing, but I would just do a sketch of it, and I would have that at the side of my page. I'll show you graphically what I'm going to be doing here. First of all, when I'm going to try and find the median, and the median from V, okay, that's the important thing, it's from V, it'll go from V and it'll go across the other side of the triangle and it'll cut this line here at its midpoint. Okay, so if I was going to try and find the middle of that line, I can just look at the x coordinates and I can find the middle of the x coordinates and find the middle of the y coordinates there, and what I can find out is I've got a point there. Okay, so that there will be the point M if it's VM that we're trying to work out. Okay, and the median is a line that will go from V all the way across to there. So there's our median. Okay, from there I can see that M is going to be having coordinates -1, 1. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do first of all. And the way I'm going to approach it is I'm going to be finding the midpoint. Once I find the midpoint, I'm going to find the gradient between these 2 points here. And when I've got the gradient, I can substitute the gradient and any one of these 2 points into the equation of a straight line, and I'll work out the equation of that line. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, first thing we're going to do is work out the median. Okay, so first thing, what we'll do is we'll find the midpoint of the line ST, okay? And all I'm going to do is take the average, or the mean, of the x coordinates and the mean of the y coordinates. Okay, if I add the top line or gather them together, divide by 2, I should get the coordinates of -1, 1. And that was the point that I indicated on the diagram. I'll then find the gradient between the points. Okay, so the gradient will be the next thing that will work out, and it's the gradient of VM. Okay, the way I'm going to do that, I'll use y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. What I'll do is I'll substitute my values in, and what we'll go for is be 1, it's -1, and I'll go for -1 minus 8. Okay, that's the 2 points, M being the midpoint and V being the point 8 minus 1. From there, gathering up, so that's going to be 2 on the top, and I've got -9 on the bottom. So that's my gradient here. For the equation, what I'll do is I'll substitute the gradient. So the gradient that I worked out, which is 2 over -9, okay? And the point that we'll use the midpoint for this one, the point M, which is -1, 1. And I'm going to substitute that into the general equation of a straight line. Okay, so I'll have y minus the 1 that's there is equal to the gradient, so that will be -2 over 9, and that will be x minus, and I've got a -1 sitting there, so that's a -1 there. That will make a +1 when I gather that up together. What I'm going to do with this just now, because I know that I'm going to have to find the point of intersection, I'm going to prepare this further. This is where I would probably get the mark for this part of the equation, but I'm going to prepare it further by multiplying this side by 9, removes the 9 from there. I'm going to multiply this side by -2, so that will be -2x, that's a +1 times -2 will give me -2. I'll gather the x's first, so x first on that side, plus 9y, what I'll do is I'll take the -9 to that side, it'll become a plus, and that'll become a 7. So that one there will be my equation number 1, because I'm going to have to use simultaneous equations to work out the last part of this question. Right, the next part I've got to do is to find the altitude SL. Okay, so I'll go back to the drawing just now and show you what we're working out. So if I know an altitude that's SL and it's coming from S, what it should do is it should come from this point and it should meet this line here at right angles. So if I've got a gradient of something like that there, what I'd be looking to do is to find an angle that would be at right angles to that. So that's at roughly right angles, and what I'd be expecting to do would be to draw a line through here. So that there would be my altitude, and remember the altitude meets this line here at 90 degrees. Okay, and I think this point here was L. Okay, we don't work out that point. We don't usually work that one. What we do is to work out an altitude. First of all, I'll work out the gradient of this line. This line here, which is TV. I'll then take the perpendicular gradient of it. So I know the gradient of this line, and I'll substitute the point S, which is 2,6, into the equation of a straight line with the gradient of SL. And what I'll do is I'll find the point of intersection, which should be there. Okay, let's have a look how we do that. Right, we're working out the altitude, so I'll work out the altitude on this side. And the altitude is SL that we're going to work out. So first thing, I'll get the gradient of the line TV. And I'll use y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1 for that one. I'll substitute my points in, so it'll be minus 1, 4, all over 8, minus 4. Okay, so just the points TV, so these 2 points here that I'm using. From there, I should get an answer of 3 over 12, which would simplify down just to 1/4. So what I'll then do is I'll find out the perpendicular gradient. So there's my wee kind of right angle there. Perpendicular gradient is going to be equal to, so if I've got 1/4, I'm just going to flip that over. So I'll flip it and change it. Okay, so it'll be like 4 over 1, and then I'll just change that to minus. Okay, so that there would just simplify out to be minus 4. And the reason why that works is since one of the gradients times the other is equal to minus 1 for perpendicular lines. Okay, for perpendicular lines, 2 gradients multiplied together, these two will give me minus 1, and that works out. Right, from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the equation. So to get the equation, I'll substitute. So what I'll do is I'll substitute the gradient that I've worked out. So with the perpendicular gradient, minus 4, and the point that we're going to use will be the point S, because that's the only point I know that's on that line, and that's 2,6. That's the point S. Okay, and what we're going to substitute it into is y minus b equals mx minus a. Here we go. Y minus 6 is equal to the gradient, which is minus 4, x minus, and it'll be the 2 from there. What I'll do is I'll multiply that out and gather it up, and that'll be me prepared for the simultaneous equations that I'm going to have to do. So I've got y minus 6 is equal to minus 4x, that's going to be plus 8, the two negatives multiplied together. Take the 4 over this side, the 4x plus y, take the minus 6 over at that side, and that's going to give me 14. So that's going to give me my second equation that I'm going to be working with. Okay, so what I've got there is the equation of the median, and over here I've got the equation of the altitude. Right, so the point of intersection is the next part I'm going to work out. And the way I'm going to go about that is simultaneous equations. So I'll write down my equations first. So I've got 2x plus 9y equals 7. That's equation number 1. And equation number 2 from over here, and that's going to be 14. Okay, so that's my equation number 2. So from there, what I'm going to do is, normally what I would do is try to eliminate y, but this time I'm seeing it's quite simple just to multiply out and get rid of the x values. So I'm going to multiply my equation number 1 by 2. So my instruction is equation number 1 multiplied by 2, and what I should get from that will be 4x plus 18y equals 14. I'm going to call that equation number 3. So for the two equations here, what I'm going to do to eliminate them, because the signs are the same, I'm going to subtract. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start with equation 3 and I'll take equation 2 away from that. So that take away that, 4x take away 4x gives me 0, 18y take away y will give me 17y, and 14 take away 14, well that's going to give me 0. From there I know that y equals 0. Once I've got my y coordinate, what I'll do is I'll go from there and I'll substitute y is equal to 0 into, and I'm just going to do it into equation number 1. So 2x, so this is the equation that I'm substituting it into, plus 9 times 0, that's instead of y, is equal to 7, so 2x is equal to 7, so from there my x value is equal to a fraction, which is 7 upon 2. I'm going to just leave it as a top heavy fraction there. So what I can then state is that the point of intersection is, and I must state the coordinates, and I'll do them correctly. I'm going to put the x coordinate first and 0 next, okay, for the y. So point of intersection is 7 upon 2, 0. That's the coordinates. And that's the coordinates that we found on the diagram. Right then, so let's see how this is marked. So first mark I'm going to give for working out, if I look at the median part first for the midpoint, so if I get that coordinate there, that's the first mark. Second mark for getting the gradient of Vm, and the third mark would come here, but what I would really want to see is that being a plus in there. Or I'd accept something that's just a bit beyond that, if it's correct. Moving over to the altitude side, first thing I'll get my mark for is getting the gradient of TV, then getting the perpendicular gradient, and getting the perpendicular gradient I'm also going to include a statement of how you actually got that, or some working that would show that working out, so that'd be a mark. From there I'd get the equation, so I'm going to go for this mark here, so that written out, even if it's not multiplied out, that would give me the mark there. From there I'm going to go into the simultaneous equations, and the first thing I'm going to get is for preparing them, and I'll go for scaling the equations as well, so making sure that the equations are scaled, ready to either add or subtract. I'll get one mark for the y coordinate of 0, and finally I'd be looking for the final mark that would come for the coordinates, and it must be stated in coordinate form because that's what I've been asked to do. Right, let's see how many marks we've got here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This question here, out of 9 marks, okay, and that's that complete. If I look at the overall homework 8 should be marked out of 47. Okay, good luck.